Hey guys, this is Tony from BD Outdoors, and today I'm showing you a breakdown of my favorite options of fluoro for fishing offshore here in Southern California. We all know it, we all use it. Let's dive into it. If you're a saltwater angler, especially here in SoCal, you very well know how important it is to have a variety of fluoro in your tackle box. Seaguar is one of the top fluorocarbon brands in the game, and it takes us back to 1971 where they invented a fluorocarbon fishing line packed with high performance and never before seen features to help fresh and saltwater anglers everywhere catch more fish. So let's talk about the different labels. I'm sure you've seen the gold, the blue, the green labeled fluoro in just about every tackle shop, and each one is made with a specific purpose in mind. Gold label fluoro, it's their thinnest, their strongest fluoro, and when it comes to tying knots, probably the smoothest line to use without sacrificing your knot strength. It also has the lowest memory, so you're not going to see those curly cues in your line, and it's going to remain relatively straight coming off the spool. The best application for gold label, because the diameter is really thin, when you cast your bait out, your bait is gonna have less resistance pulling that line through the water. And it's gonna make that bait presentation look a little bit more natural, especially during the day, during a finicky bite, without necessarily having to go down in line size. Recently, Seaguar introduced their gold label spools in 50 yards, which is awesome because the last thing you want to do when you're in the middle of a bite or in a trip is use your last piece of fluoro from those smaller spools. This way, you get a little bit more bang for your buck. You have a bigger spool so you can use what you have on the boat. Green label fluoro, diameter is also thin, it has a low memory, but it has incredible knot and tensile strength. So the knots tied with green label, they're gonna provide a really good shock absorber, and this line has incredible abrasion resistance. It's pretty much my go-to for summertime dorado on lighter line, and when I'm targeting bigger bluefin on the jig. I wanna make sure I have that shock absorption for that initial bite. Blue label, it's their most frequently used and seen label for fluoro, and it's all around their best seller. You get both the best of both worlds, so it can be used in a variety of situations. The key for blue label is that abrasion resistance and the high impact strength. This line with a fly line bait will sink your bait out fast, and it's gonna hold up with those toothy pelagics. Obviously, I'm gonna have a variety of fluoro in my gear, right? So middle of summertime, dorado, wide open yellowfin, I'm gonna have usually 20-25 pound test in the green label on me at all times, every time I go out. If I'm targeting bluefin, whether it's early on in the season, later on in the season, I'm gonna have this gold label anywhere from generally 30 is the lowest I'll go, all the way up to 60, even 80 pound for that sinker rig setup. The blue label, I'm always gonna have a variety. Generally 40 pound blue label is what I'm fishing if I'm fly lining for those daytime bluefin, just so I know I have my bases covered. Seaguar recently came out with their big game fluoro in blue label and green premier fluoro. Blue label comes from 90 to 400 pound test. The premier comes in 100 to 200 pound test. When you're targeting bigger bluefin, especially over 100 pounds, this is where those line classes come into play. You're gonna have those similar specs that you see with the smaller spools for these guys, but just amplify the strength and abrasion resistance. I would use that premier leader for your night bite, your heavier daytime jig setup, and that blue label for your kite, for your double trouble. Now, the examples I gave, they're not just limited to those scenarios. Obviously, when it comes to fishing, you know how unpredictable they can be, especially bluefin. And you can have everything perfect from your gear to your knots, your presentation in the water, but there are days where they just don't bite, no matter what you put in front of them. And that'll happen, but knowing your gear, so it does put you in that better position to catch whatever fish you're targeting, puts you ahead of the game and your fellow anglers. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful going into next season. Thanks for watching. Good luck out there.